All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Life Between the Six with Cody Cropper, your host, Brandon. We've got another fun guest. Cody, you are popping off a bit with all
I'm
these
trying
guests.
to. I had to call in a big favor for this one. This was a last minute back pocket. Like, he promised he'd come on if I ever needed him.
Cash was
Jamie
exchanged.
Watson. Yes.
I'm happy to be the sub for whoever was way more interesting than me. So thank you for having me as the backup option. And I'll try to make the next, 45, 60, 70 minutes, however long we ramble on for, worth it, to where you think, hey, that was the best sub we've ever had.
Hey, Impact subs play some of the biggest roles in games. You know that.
I made a career of it.
That's right. Jamie, super unique. We get to have the player turned pundit role, media personality, covering the games now that you so love. Give just the quick background of everybody of your soccer career and kind of how you got into commentating on MLS games.
All right. Well, I know how sort of attention spans work nowadays, so I'm on like the quick fly here, right? So 12-year pro career, played for Real Salt Lake, Orlando City, FC Dallas, Minnesota United. At the end of 12 years, that was the end of the 2016 season. As Minnesota United made the jump to Major League Soccer, I got the opportunity to switch over to broadcasting, and I was on the wrong side of 30. I had about 1.5 good ACLs left, and so I decided I'm going to make the switch over. It was what I always wanted to do when I was done playing, and so I got my foot in the door and I ran with it. 3 years at Minnesota United as part of a sort of a 3-man booth that we had there, and then when Nashville started, I got the opportunity to join Nashville at the beginning of 2020. So I did 3 years there. And then as Apple took over the broadcasting rights, I was one of the fortunate ones to get to join with Apple. So casual flex, I'm just going to say Apple TV like 900 times because I still can't believe it either that I get to work for Apple TV and Major League Soccer and MLS season pass. It's a dream job. I'm literally living the 1B dream job I ever had, and the 1A was playing, and Cody's still getting to enjoy it, so I'm living vicariously through him. And instead of trying to stay in shape and be a good player, I just get to talk about players without doing any running. So it's the next best thing for sure.
Hey, that is definitely the next best thing.
Yeah, well, look, you're talking to a couple goalkeepers. We don't believe in running anyways. And podcast also is pretty cash as well. So, Jay, we're excited to have you because I think, Cody, we've had some questions, about the transition to Apple TV. It's been really fascinating. Big money going into this one. The differences in streaming 1080p is a huge difference. Big win for the fans. But yeah, any questions with Jamie, kind of his maybe pre-match prep or what goes into it?
Yeah, I mean, what has your transition been from going from player to media broadcaster? Like, do you still have a routine?
Absolutely. And it's so funny because when I was done playing and the first time I got asked to do an audition, I showed up and just sat down in the chair ready to call a game. And I knew the players' names and I just wrote down kind of their names and numbers. And the person that was auditioning, leading the audition was like, "So where's your prep?" I was like, "It's all up here." They were like, "You're not that good, pal. You're not that good." And the thing is, you don't know what you don't know about this job. If you think you can sit down and, it'll just come to you in the moment, you are setting yourself up to get exposed and embarrassed, because it's like anything, Cody, if you didn't train and then you just showed up on a Saturday to match day, I mean, you're good, so you'd be fine. But you know what I mean? Imagine if you had no training whatsoever and you just thought, okay, I'll just go when the first whistle goes, I'll be ready to do the job. It'd be the most naive mentality you could possibly have. Yeah. So it was a quick awakening for me that you're going to get out of this what you put into it, much like as a player. Yeah. And so, just to, I guess, really be vulnerable really quickly in this, I learned a lot in my playing career because I thought once I made it to Major League Soccer, I had made it, right? I was in MLS. So all the things that I did to get to that point, I stopped doing. Now, it sounds silly to say that, but I don't think I was smart about, hey, just because you've gotten to where you want to be, that doesn't mean you need to stop doing all those things. You need to keep doing those things at a bare minimum and continue to do more. So I kind of said to myself, like, I don't want to make that same mistake that probably led me to stop playing in Major League Soccer earlier in my playing career. And so in my second career, I was like, I'm going to make sure that I do all of the prep that I possibly can.
Right.
I'm going to make sure that I know everything that I possibly can know. So that way, when anything gets thrown my way on a Saturday night during a game, I'm ready to talk about it. And so that means involving learning 30 people's life stories. So then when a game day 20 comes out, immediately 10 of those stories are completely worthless and just taking up space in your brain. And then of that, 11 players are playing and you may get 5 subs. So, I have a lot of useless knowledge. And a lot of times I'll meet players after the game and I'll pretend to be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know that, you lived with your grandma since you were 8 years old, and I know where you're from and I know everything about you. So there's a little bit of a weirdness to it, but that's part of the job. And I actually grabbed some notes that are just right here. It's funny because this is one of the things that broadcasters sort of lean on, but I'll try to hold this up here and see if we can get this to focus. But here's some of my notes about players. So it's got player's name, here's goalkeeper, right? JT Marcinkowski. I've got his number. I've got his age. I'll talk about how many games he's played, how many MLS games. He was on the U23s. He was second in MLS with 22 saves, last year, 112. And so when you start talking about a player and, Marcinkowski makes a save, you can say, what a save from the U.S. Youth International, JT Marcinkowski. So it's just a little bit, but it adds a little context to it, right? And then
for sure,
if he's on 7 saves in the game, I can say, well, it's no surprise he racked up 112 saves last year, which led him to second. So little bits of context. So when you're watching, it sort of elevates the players and maybe elevates the moment that a player's just executed, or it's sort of elevated the player that scored on such a good goalkeeper, right? So, So do I have to do that? No, but am I better off when I do it? I think so. I think the viewers
absolutely do. And it's obviously helped you get to where you are, and name drop here, work for Apple, right? In the Apple TV broadcast.
That's Apple TV Plus, guys. All right, it's
Apple
a subscription
TV Plus
service.
Okay. All right. And how much does it cost, Brandon? Because you pay for it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I'm the only one of this podcast that bought the damn thing.
For sure, you are, because my wife pays for mine, and Jamie for sure gets his for free. So
Jamie's got the gold Apple TV box. I get it. That's fine, guys.
I didn't get the cool ones when they sent it out. That's for sure. I was watching all the other people on social media get it.
Yeah.
And I never got one of those. But
they're just like, here's your paycheck.
I'll take that instead. That's definitely much more preferred.
I love it. Yeah, look, I think I learned through Arlo White. We had him on another podcast and got to learn from him. And he started posting his boards that he does for the Premier League games when he was doing that with NBC. And I think it did show the depth, you got to watch film. You're an investigative reporter heading into these games too, because it matters. And I think what's awesome about this is that you guys realize what a cool opportunity it is with the Apple TV. There's upside and downside. Downside, a lot of people aren't working anymore. Upside, you've got this great opportunity and this great platform, and you guys don't want to let it go. Look, this is my first season watching MLS, and if this is the status quo, we're in a good spot in this country. I think what you guys are doing and what there's a lot of learnings, and I've got a lot of patience for it. But it's good. It's good to see this league be elevated on the media side of it, and it's so cool. And it's super accessible. I've really enjoyed it. I think what you guys are doing is fun. And what is fun about this league is it is unbelievable. I can't keep up.
Unpredictable.
That's what I'm saying. I can't keep up. I have no idea. I start to get a grasp on a storyline and it is gone the next day.
It's flipped on its head within a week or two, right? And that's the beauty of Major League Soccer, right? You can expect one thing. You had New England Revolution 2 seasons ago, Cody, right? Former team, right? They set the record for most points, Supporter Shield winners, clearing away the best team in the league. Next season, they didn't make the playoffs. What? How does that happen?
Sold Matt Turner in first place right now.
I mean, it's crazy, right? You sell Matt Turner on, he goes to Arsenal, makes a ton of money, but yet they go find a player in Georgi Petrovic.
And I'm going to say this. I love Matt. I played with Matt. I think Petrovic is a better goalkeeper. I think statistically speaking, he is a better goalkeeper.
I'd agree. I'd agree. And it's hard to say that. That's no knock on Matt.
No,
that's a compliment on Georgie. And I think Matt is probably the best goalkeeper we have in the, I'll ask you this, actually. I'll put you on the hot spot, Cody. You get to be the one that picks Matt Turner or Zach Steffen, or write an answer. Who's the American number one right now in your eyes?
In my eyes, I think it's Zach because he's been playing.
Okay.
Consistently.
Which is funny because 6 months ago,
it was not.
You might have a nightmare.
You might have a different, and that's 6 months ago. That's what happened.
Yeah.
However, if the World Cup was next month, in my opinion, Zach is your number one because he's played consistently.
That's harsh too. Like the timing,
and
right?
It is harsh. It is harsh, but Zach, it was a harsh decision not to even bring Zach to the World Cup.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? And that's the life of a goalkeeper, isn't it? Right? Because there's one spot. And
it is.
You've been on both sides of it.
Been there.
You know that. You know how it is. And it is legitimately of a team, the one position that there's the least amount of change. And this is not like a hot take by any stretch of the imagination, but like if you're the clear cut number one or the clear cut number two, like it might be that way the entire season. And it's very difficult. You have to have several blunders in a row a lot of times to even start to get a doubt in the coach's mind about changing that position.
Yeah.
Striker doesn't score in 2 or 3 games, then it's like, okay, well, let's get you out of the lineup. We'll sit you for a couple games and see if it changes again in a couple of weeks. So and then that's difficult, right? You have to have the right mentality, because if you don't have the right mentality for that, you could find yourself out of a job quickly altogether.
Yeah, maybe you're a penalty specialist, right? If for a tournament, but other than that, there's zero rotation.
Who is it? Who's the Dutch goalkeeper that they used to bring on for penalties in big tournaments? What's his name?
Was it Tim Krul?
It was, yeah.
It was Tim Krul, and they used to pull. Who was the goalkeeper that would play the games? Klassen?
Yeah, there you go. I can't believe you said it. It's a tall, skinny, blonde guy. I can't believe you pulled that out of your back pocket. Wow.
Yeah, and Sketlenberg was in there too as well. I mean, they've had some good goalkeepers, but
they have.
Don't ask me what I had for lunch last week, but I'll tell you who played goalkeeper in a game.
Yeah, we're talking like 6
years ago.
All right.
Euros 2018, I think. Maybe even 2014.
We all remember Jens Lehmann pulling the note out of his sock. So
Euros 2016.
I think it's genius, by the way, because nothing would mess with my head more if you pulled out a piece of paper and you started looking at it as I'm walking up to take a penalty in a shootout, and you look at me and you like kind of smile. I'd be like, Are you messing with me?
I'm
like,
toast.
Do you know where I go? Like, it would be the biggest mind game.
Hey, this weekend versus Portland, or this week versus Portland, if we get into penalties, I'm for sure going to do that.
Promise me you'll do that.
I'll do it. I have their penalties. I have their penalties in my inbox right now. I'm going to start writing them down on the phone tomorrow.
that would be the biggest mind, because I took penalties all my career. And there was one time, I can't remember who it was. I'm going to blank on the name now after just remembering a name from years ago. But as I was ready to take the penalty, he goes, I know where you've gone the last 4 penalties. And I've gone the same way the last 4 penalties. And I panicked and I was like, okay, then I'm going to go the same way. And I was like, I just quickly fired it back to try to put it back on him, to put him on his back heels. I was so far on my back heels, and in my head, I think I scuffed it, and it like barely went down the middle to one side. It was just a terrible, terrible penalty. And
the question is, did it go in?
It did. It was not impressive, to say the least, but it was one of those that when it happened, I was like, oh my God, it totally worked. It totally works. And if you don't do it Wednesday, Brandon, you cannot let him off the hook. If they go to penalties on Wednesday night and he doesn't pull out a piece of paper or
I'm on it,
scribble something.
I'm gonna put it on my water bottle. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stand there and look at my water bottle and be like,
hey, so but the opposing goalkeeper is gonna punt your water bottle out of there.
Oh, for sure.
That's happening.
I mean,
the thing is, Cody, you have to let him know. You have to almost kind of show him too. Like, even if it's just like point to it, just be like,
this information right here.
Yeah, be like this. Even though it's
blank.
What number are you?
Even though it's blank,
you got to do
there's
something.
actually there's no information.
Exactly. Take the
caution.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. There we go.
All right, as you're saying, a wild round of games. Eastern Conference, the Revs, who had a cold start to the season, are in first place in the East. They're on 20 points. FC Cincy, 20 points. Atlanta, 18. That's the top three over there. On the Western Conference, St. Louis, 19. Seattle, 19, neck and neck with LAFC on 18 points. You know, you start to see a little bit of separation at the top on both sides of the conference, an absolute cluster in the middle. The playoff line is going to be highly contested. I mean, really outside of Kansas City, the rest of the teams are like finding ways to get points here or there. But Kansas City, unfortunately, is by far and away the team with the most to kind of figure out and still prove. I saw Tim Melia was in goal this weekend.
I did see that as well.
I haven't done my homework if that was his first game or if he's played a few, but I know they had that 18, 19-year-old kid in as well for most of the season.
That's right. Pulse camp in. I mean, I guess we just start with this game, right? New England versus SKC. It's kind of teed up for us, but it's also like I don't know what's going on with Sporting Kansas City because they have the pieces.
They really do. I did their game when they played against Seattle, and it was the game that Jordan Morris scored 4 goals in the game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Boys, when I tell you before that first goal went in, that Morris scored from Leo Chu, like I think 23, 24, 25 minutes in, SKC were passing Seattle to death, just side to side, moving them from side to side. They just couldn't get, Willie Gotta scored like in the first 5 minutes. They were up 1-0. It was when they equalized is when the shift sort of happened. So they were up a goal 20 minutes in. I'm like, Sporting is back.
Yeah, like, this is the Sporting that dominated the league for years.
Insane how quickly Seattle breaks out and they get a goal and they tie it up. And I think it went to half 1-1, or they maybe got a second one before half. I can't remember. I think it was 1-1 at half, but Seattle is so good and can break out on that. So it was, they were worthy for the win, and Jordan had 4 goals on the day. He was unstoppable. But it's got to be maddening for Peter Vermees because his team is not this bad. They're finding ways to lose points. That was the game that Ben Sweat got sent off for 2 yellow cards, and it was 2-1 at the time. And then I think quickly went 3 and then 4-1 after that, after he got sent off. But that's got to be the most frustrating part of being a coach, is because he's had to do it without Gotti Kinda and Alan Polito, and now Polito's finally getting back, but after being out for over a year, it's going to take him a while to get back. Johnny Russell's been injured as well. Guys are making mistakes too, so he's been without his best players for a while, and they're finally getting back. It's going to take him a little bit of time. I would have bet everything I owned that through 9 games, Sporting would have been, if you'd have said they're right around the playoff line, I'd be like, really? You think it's going to go that badly for him? But to have 3 points through 9 games and 0 wins it's crazy. But I also think Peter Vermees has earned enough. He has enough sort of credit in the back pocket of that ownership group that I don't think that they should make a change anytime.
So that's what I was just about to ask you, is like, is it getting to that stage where, and you've seen it with other clubs, when I was at New England, they brought in Bruce, and Bruce turned that organization around, right? That's a very simple statement, very true statement.
Did, yeah.
Is a managerial change what SKC might need, or does the ownership group stand by their contract, their 3-year deal that they gave him at the start of this year? 5-year deal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So one, it'd be a terrible bit of business, by the way, from them.
Oh, it would, because the buyout would be unbelievable.
You pay him off for the next 4 years. So it's almost, first of all, it'd be, from a business standpoint, it'd be, cheaper to keep them you have to pay for a new coach to come in as well. But I also think too, that at the very worst case, you bring in a manager that Peter can then switch to the sporting director role and then oversee that aspect of it, because he's also, I've talked to plenty of coaches and GMs that have said he is so difficult to negotiate with on a trade, and he doesn't lose trades. He doesn't give away. He doesn't make bad trades. And that's a skill set of its own too. So
For sure.
he's got the versatility to be able to do two different roles. But I think that he should best be judged when Russell, Gotti Kinda, Alan Polito are all back, and Eric Tommy hopefully starts to find some of the form that he had last year as well too. So I think it would be just a terrible decision to fire him now or in any time soon from a business standpoint, but also I think he's a fantastic manager. Think about this. Not that long ago, we were saying, is he the next U.S. men's national team manager?
Oh,
nothing's changed from him as a manager. Dynamics have changed and players' performances have certainly changed, and not for the better, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that.
Well, on the flip side, New England, gentlemen, doing quite well, as we were talking about. Veroni getting the double, couple goals in 4 minutes. I mean, puts him up. I guess they gave it the one. Yeah. Like, cause the one, it kind of looked like an own goal potential, but they gave the credit.
I think they gave it as an own goal.
On MLS Soccer right now, it says Veroni got 2. So they trusted that he was going to bend it in far post like a sniper.
They should do that. It'd been harsh to go the other way. Look, you're finally getting him to come into form too. And that's scary, right? Because they had Gustavo Bo, Bobby Wood, Josie Altidore, and Veroni. Like, you've got the ability to find a player that's in form, fitness wise, to be able to fit, maybe scheme wise. They've got the trio of youngsters and Jack Peniotu, Noel Buck, and Esmir Bayraktarovic as well. It was the first time their win against DC, I think in match day 3, that they had 3 players 18 and under start in MLS history. And so they're hitting on their DPs with Heel and Bo, and now it looks like Veroni's starting to hit as of late. And then you've got a wave of youngsters with the academy producing players, and the way they play with Brandon By, what a hit he was. What a find he was, playing for Minneapolis City, right, Cody, at one point. And then now he's doing that with DeJuan Jones on the other side.
I was going to say, DeJuan, you can't forget about him either.
I mean, that's crazy. As I named 7 other players before I said DeJuan Jones.
Yeah.
That's how good
DeJuan's like art. Like, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, arguably one of the best outside backs in the league. And he's been playing on the left, and he's not predominantly left-footed, correct?
Correct. So I would say that his player profile, dominance-wise, reminds me a lot of Marvell Wynn. Because Marvell Wynn had devastating pace. DeJuan Jones, devastating pace.
Goodness.
But I think DeJuan Jones has even more to offer as you get to the final third than Marvell Wynn ever did. And if you ask anybody that ever played against Marvell Wynn, it was like, this week's going to suck. You know what I mean? Because this guy's just going to run me, and he's fast. And I think DeJuan Jones, as he starts to get even better in the attacking portion, because he was in college. I did some of his games at Michigan State commentating, and he was an outside mid, sometimes the forward in the front 3 who's converted.
That's what they drafted him as. Yeah. He was a winger. And I'm pretty sure so was Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted both of them as wingers, and they adapted, and Friedel, who drafted them, adapted both of them to outside backs.
Smart decision for Brad to do that. And I think that the way they play and their ability to keep possession allows the outside backs to get forward. That's a big key 100%. To it. And
well, I think having the center back pairing of Farrell and Romney right now has been very good. Obviously, you have a lot of experience in those two, and it allows you not only have a lot of experience, but you have a lot of strength and you have a lot of pace.
Yeah. And that's really
important. And it allows those two to go forward. And then you have somebody like Polster, who's a true 6, who sits in there and breaks things up. Very, obviously not the same level, but very like Roy Keane-esque, right? Like, that's, in my mind, that's where I played with Matt in the youth national teams. And that's kind of like the role that I see him in, because he's very good at reading the play, and he breaks the play up, gets the ball, and he gives it to Carles.
Understands.
What did Roy Keane do?
Exactly.
read the game, he broke the play up, and he gave the ball to Paul Scholes.
It's
all you got to do.
Understanding your role within a team can make you even better. And Matt does that really well. And they're doing this all. Henry Kessler out for 4 months. I mean, that's going to be a tough loss. But like you said, they just replaced him with Andrew Farrell, who's 300 plus appearances for this club already too. So
like 350. I think he had 350 last year.
Insane.
That's a ton when Dax McCarty just had 400. And you think how long he's been in the league, and for him to have 350 or somewhere in between is massive.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
I've got my boards right here on New England actually, and let's see. As of the other game that I did with them, Andrew Farrell. Let's see. He was on game number 304. This was a couple of weeks ago. He made his first appearance of the season against NYC FC. So 304 appearances, 301 starts at age 30. He was the first pick. You remember what year he came in the league? Here's a pop quiz for you guys. What year was he the first pick of?
2016.
Cody says 2016. Brandon?
Oh, no. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that.
2014 before you say something dumb.
I was going to say 2013 because I actually remember now he came in the same draft class as Kellen Rowe.
2013 is correct.
2013.
What's the university for bonus points? What university?
Louisville.
The Cardinals, baby. Look at you, Cody.
I looked him up, so I wasn't gonna take that one away from you.
There we go. Yeah. So that's all to say. He's done that in 10 years. That's averaging 30 games a season.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, the consistency.
I wonder where Kellen would be now too. Kellen's got to be at 250 to 300.
Oh, it's a good question. I don't have my boards with him in front of it, but
he's had a few trades here and there, and maybe not. I don't think he played as consistently at SKC as he would have wanted when the Revs traded him there. Obviously, now he's a surplus.
306.
There we go.
He's at 306. Wow.
Yep. I would have. Yeah, I didn't have my Seattle boards up.
He's now like
another 13 appearances in the MLS Cup playoffs. So
he does. Very solid player. And
he's great,
I'll tell you what, phenomenal dude. Loves a glass of wine. Great dude. Could talk your socks off. That's someone we should get on here.
Sounds like
he can promote his wine. Didn't he start a wine company?
I'd buy his wine, man. That guy, he could sell me ice if I lived in Alaska. I'd be like, Helen,
for sure he would.
I trust your face. I want to buy it.
I trust you. I mean, he's so business orientated. I think he's bought into like owning a Euro company, like a Euro restaurant in Boston. I don't know if he sold though, but when we played together, he was like a restaurant connoisseur, wine I mean, this guy was all over the place.
I didn't have Kellen Rowe 306 games played and slinging shawarmas on the side. I did not have that on my board though. I gotta step my game up.
Those are the deep cuts.
Oh goodness.
All right. Well, before we jump into the next one, Cody, you've got another friendly company that you've partnered with that helps you get through your day every day. What are you pushing now?
So today is no cow. All right. So Jamie, I don't know if you know this, but in 2020 I went vegan. However, I've changed since then. I'm now pescatarian, but I try to cut out dairy. I try to be very conscious of what I eat. This is a protein bar that I find very beneficial. It is dairy-free, 20 grams of plant-based protein, 1 gram of sugar, and only 5 grams net carbs. It is a phenomenal dessert. This one is the chocolate sprinkled donut, one of my personal favorites. It's actually very good.
Sounds very healthy.
A lot of times like dairy-free vegan protein bars can be very chalky.
Yes.
And this is not the case with No Cow. So
they figured it out.
They did.
All right.
At least this one.
Good stuff. They're good snacks to have. Look, I had a work meeting from 9 to 1 today and I didn't get time to eat. And I just went for the protein bar and pistachio. So if you need a vegan protein bar, what is it? Powdered sugar donut?
Yeah. No, this one's chocolate sprinkled donut.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Is there a website that I can go on and order some from?
Yeah, there you go.
We got to find that. We got to find out what the website is for those.
Yeah, it will be in the link in the caption of this podcast episode. The description, it will be in there.
Awesome. I love it. Cody, absolute pro.
I'm vain, so I will definitely listen to this back and watch this back, and I will then order it while I'm listening to us talk. So
there you go. All right, next one up is Nashville versus LAFC. Love this. We're gonna get the inside track. Nashville, hot start, cooled though a little bit since then. LAFC continuing to make their surge after having that weird start to the season with El Tráfico being postponed. But Mukhtar and Bouanga with the goals. Duh. Who else would it have been? I mean,
who else?
This is exactly how the writers had it set up, Cody. Nashville at home, LAFC on the road, and no Teal. He missed out.
Teal started.
Well,
he started
not on the podcast.
I don't call back.
I'm not sure we would have called this game if Teal had been on because there's a conflict of interest. So
it's true, but we don't have to worry about it.
He did get an assist in the game, even though he
did
didn't
get an assist.
Anything about it.
No,
yeah,
knew nothing about it.
Laying on the ground, ball bounces off his back. I don't know how that ball went in, by the way.
When you're Hani Mukhtar, things just fall your way, man. And by the way, he is one of the greatest human beings. So give him all of the goals, all of the awards. He's a wonderful
Hani or Teal?
Both. But
I was going to say, because
I was talking about Hani.
I don't know Hani, but I know Teal is honestly one of the most incredible people ever.
Teal and Katie are like the most amazing couple ever. They're just like the prime example of like what every couple
mom and dad
strives to be.
100%. Yeah, they really are. They're
awesome. Yeah, it's
fantastic people.
Teal's done a really good job of finding longevity in sports and in a career, and it's so difficult to do, but he's resisting father time. He is just still getting it done. And it's been fun to watch him come into Nashville after being in New England for, was it almost 8 years? Was it? He was there for a while.
Yeah. I think he got traded there from SKC.
Yep. So he's SKC 09
or 2014.
09 to 13, good memory. And then 14 to 21, he was with the Revs. So this is now his second season with Nashville.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, Nashville has done a very good job of finding players very similar to Teal in terms of players that have found the ability to find longevity in their career. CJ Sapong. I mean, Walker Zimmerman feels like he's been around forever.
Dave Romney, we mentioned him.
Was there.
Dax McCarty.
The guy, Dax.
My goodness. This guy he's father time.
Joe Willis. Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And look, these are players that go straight up the spine of the team. And I mean, they've had great success with it. So you can't argue with the players that Gary Smith has wanted outside of what Loba, I think was a miss. But
and Loba gave you all of the things to get excited about leading into it. It's just he just never transitioned.
He just didn't hit. Yeah.
It just didn't.
And that happens.
It does. And that was, and I don't think that he can be written off too, because I think he's only 24 still as well. Mm-hmm. And if you think Hani Mukhtar's first year in 2020, it was COVID and he was away from home, and he'll tell you too, he hated being away from home, didn't have any family. It was difficult with the restrictions travel wise and stuff, but I think he had like 4 goals, 4 assists that first year. So I don't always think you get the best of players right away. I don't think Loba is to be written off, but he's going to have to make big growth in his game. And also I think has the ability to adapt to life elsewhere and be able to just sort of figure it out, because he's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, because he's already gotten maybe, he's lost a lot of the good faith that he had coming in. He's got to rebuild that faith by having some good performances if and when he ever comes back.
For sure. I agree.
I think the big thing about this game for me that stood out was LAFC and their ability to rotate ahead of CONCACAF Champions League and still put out a team that can go toe-to-toe with Nashville at Geodis Park. It was a impressive performance. You had the new guy at Bogus start. Buick started. You got Cifuentes, who's been sort of not starting over Tillman, but he's obviously a fantastic player. Dueñas got a start. Maldonado started as well in the back. So they made 5 significant changes to the lineup, and still got a point at Geodis Park and almost won it in the 89th minute.
Yeah, they should have won it. They actually scored.
It was called back for an offside. Yeah,
it was called back for
Marginally.
offside. Yeah, very marginal. But they also had 2 or 3 golden chances where they missed the target. And I mean,
chances you'd expect them to be able to put on target at the very least.
Yeah.
And Mukhtar rolled one wide on a counter attack as well, which
his step over to get open. I've never seen a player has a better step over, and it's not even close. There's no 1B to him. I mean, I guess you want to throw Cristiano Ronaldo back in the day, sure. I'm talking about like an MLS player.
Yeah. We're talking about
player
humans,
in this league.
Yeah, human. Exactly. I agree.
Cody and Ronaldo have the same abs when they take their shirt off.
Right,
basically, that's 1A, 1B.
Unbelievable. Man. I think my thing on Nashville would be the fact that when they don't concede, they win, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they concede a goal, not so great. And they have only won one of their last 17 games in which they've conceded a goal.
All right, Mr. Broadcast.
That's wow.
Whoa, coming in hot.
What's crazy when you say it confidently like that? I don't even know if it's true, but you said it quickly and confidently.
No, it's true.
So it made me believe it.
It is true, sir.
I was just thinking that, like 37% of statistics are made up on the spot. So I didn't know if that was one of those.
Is that a fact?
Oh,
he said oh my God.
We reeled him in.
But seriously, give
it to me again. Read it to me. What was it?
The old 9th at 9 trick.
Nashville has won just one of their last 17 games in which they have conceded a goal.
Wow, I didn't know that one. And this is a team I feel like I know pretty well. That's not great when you hear that. And I think that Nashville is such a difficult team to break down. And there was a while, 2020, they were stellar at not conceding. 21 as well, they were that way. 22, they kind of started to struggle with their defensive sort of prowess that they had. Beginning of the season, they've already had like 4 or 5 shutouts already to start the season out of the first 9. I think it's 5 shutouts in the first 9 games. But
they've only conceded 5 goals. I actually am looking at the table right now. I think they've conceded the fewest goals in the entire league.
Oh yeah, they're on 5 conceded.
They do not concede.
And the next closest, LAC has conceded 6, and then it goes Seattle and Vancouver. Believe it or not, 7. And then it jumps up from there. So yeah, I mean, you're right. They've conceded, but they only have 8 goals as well in the season. Yeah, so that's the catch-22.
Right.
They got to find a way. If they can get somebody to really come in and stake their claim as the number 9. You think about, we talked about CJ Sapong, a prolific goal scorer, and has scored over 80 something goals in this league. I think he hits 100 by the time he's done playing. He hasn't scored since May of last year in league play.
Wow. I did not know
May of last year.
That's tough.
So
as a striker, and that doesn't only impact your statistics, that obviously impacts the team because
but I will say the reason he was playing still though was because him and Hani Mukhtar had such an incredible partnership that I think CJ had, I don't know, let's call it 5, 6, 7 goals, whatever it was last year. And Hani had 22, I think it was in regular season play, or 24, something like that. So they're just shy of 30 goals between your 2 forwards. So if I would have said your 2 forwards are going to have close to 30 goals this year, would you be okay with that?
Cash it.
You're thinking, sure, 2 15-goal scorers, no problem. It didn't work out that way, but also the way CJ played made Hani a better player as well, too. So that was sort of the reason that you could say he's not scoring, but he's also doing the things that lead to goals. So as long as he's being effective in that partnership, I think he has a role, but I think he also needs to really also prove that he can be a dual threat, because the more he's getting back to his goal scoring ways, and it's got to be, I can't imagine what he must be dealing with, between his ears as far as, that mentality as a forward who hasn't scored in that long. He just needs something. He needs somebody to shoot a ball that hits him in the side of the face and goes in, and he can get that feeling again of, once he figures out where the ball is, that it's gone.
Right. Yeah, where did it go?
Right. He desperately needs one. And that's why I think they're still trying to figure out who's better to partner up with. Honey up top, is it Teal Bunbury or is it CJ Sapong? And they have looked a better side when they have Fafa Pico and Jacob Schaffelberg, because they are vertical threats that stretch the field, and that gives more room to operate for Hani Mukhtar, and then whichever midfielder, Dax McCarty or Godoy or Sean Davis, stepping up with a late timed run. That's when they're at their best. They need to get Schaffelberg. He's been battling injury, and he's been a big miss for them.
He was electric in the season opener, even in the
first
games.
5 games.
Yeah. I mean, that mullet and stash combo is hard to beat.
Yeah. What is that? A good old porn stash? Would you call that?
Looks like it.
It's incredible. Yep.
He kind of looks like the lifeguard kid from Stranger Things.
Oh yes,
with the Nashville mullet too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh,
he's so good looking. I hate it. He's so good looking. He can like try to make himself not look good, and with
still look good
mullet and still look good. I'm like, no way.
This is not fair.
It's not fair.
Totally unfair. Last one up. Here we go. Orlando, DC. Jamie called this one, so I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. But Orlando won, DC United 3. We had Bono on a few weeks back talking to him about what's going on at DC. He's got all the belief in the world about that squad, especially with Rooney at the helm. And so it's good to see them get a result. Orlando's just really kind of like start-stop this season. Haven't really found their footing, but I don't know why I'm trying to steal your thunder, Jamie. How did it go?
You're absolutely right about Orlando. They're so much better than what the record says right now. And this was about the best performance I've seen DC put together in a long time. And man, it was funny. I talked to Wayne Rooney on Thursday. Sorry, did my microphone cut out? Let me just say it again. I got to talk to Wayne Rooney on Thursday. I had to play it cool when the Zoom comes up and it's like we get in the waiting room and Wayne gets on. You're like, hey, Wayne, hi.
Such a fanboy too. I can only imagine.
He was so nice too, man. And like,
big deal,
dude. He was one of my favorite players. Like, and we had a career going at the same time. But even I was like, man, you're so good at soccer. Yeah, he was so nice too. And we played with his brother John Rooney in Orlando. So I sort of opened up with that and was like, hey, I played with your brother, and he knows Adrian Heath. It's funny. He was actually telling a story. His dad was a massive Everton fan and Adrian Heath fan. And Wayne was telling me, I said, weren't you almost named Adrian? Like I read that in a book somewhere. I think it was in Wayne's book. And he goes, yeah, for the first couple of hours of my life, I was called Adrian before they changed it and said, no, let's go with Wayne instead of Adrian. So
isn't that crazy? What a small world.
Crazy, right? And now they're going to manage against each other at some point, this season. And so he was really cool. So after that, we just started talking, and he had mentioned the fact that his team, DC, had gone on the road and they'd gotten a win against Montreal the week before using this 3-5-2. And Orlando City had switched to a 3-4-3. So they both had 3 in the back, and their away went to Minnesota. And so he didn't know what he was going to do yet, or he wasn't telling us at least what he was going to do yet. And he didn't know what Orlando was going to do. So he was like, it's going to be interesting to see which manager blinks first. And both of them rolled with 3 in the back, but his DC side were fantastic. They were pulling Orlando apart just with their passing, but it was really Christian Benteke that was the best player on the field.
I was just going to say that. And he's been phenomenal and a vital role in everything that team does. His hold-up play is incredible.
Yeah.
And for a guy that's 6'6" and probably 220, you would expect it to be. However, he is doing such a good job at executing what they need him to do that it allows those wingers and those I'm going to say 7s and 11s to just bomb forward and release, right? Yeah. Like he holds the ball up, lays it off, those guys run.
Well, and his second assist, right, for that goal, when he essentially had someone on his back, dropped it, and he just played that ball into, I don't know where the defense was for Orlando at that point, but he absolutely was that link. And by the way, he's 6'3", 183, Cody. So
he plays like, well, yeah. I mean, he looks.
Soccer players are 5'8". He makes him look like a giant.
He looks huge.
He's hey, by the way, the goal you're talking about, Brandon, the first one, they were down 1-0. No, they were 0-0. They scored first. That's right.
Yeah.
Taxi Fuentes scored first. He's this outlet. So Cody, it was this classic up, back, and through. He was the outlet, goes right into him. He sets it back, and it goes long to Ruan, who's starting to run, the former Atlanta City player, and Robin Janssen. So Schlegel went with Benteke, so he's out of the play. He's the left center back. Janssen is the center back. Antonio Carlos is the right center back. So Schlegel's out of the play as it goes up, back, through. And as that goes wide to Ruan, Janssen just starts like running over there. But he is nowhere
near it.
He had no awareness.
So now Antonio Carlos is in his right center back role. He can't shift over in time. Taxi Fuentes just runs right up the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And Ruan just passes it right by Janssen, like, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
And he just goes in one-on-one and scores.
It was a tidy finish. He tucked it right inside that near
post.
Oh,
he did. It's a great finish, but without Benteke dropping in and sucking one of the center backs out, the gap in the middle doesn't occur.
Yeah,
the balance is but he is their focal point. And look, they have great players around him in terms of like the midfield with Knaus, with Click. I mean, you have a very good goalkeeper in Tyler Miller. You have it's a very well put together squad. And when they traded Julian Gressel away last year, I was floored. And I was thinking, what are you doing? This guy's key. Julian's a great player. He's a great person. He's done a fantastic job at Vancouver. I mean, obviously Wayne knew what he wanted and knew what
good asset too. They got a lot of money for him too, so it helped to make some other moves.
A lot of money for him, yeah. Well, it helps when you trade him to a team with a German GM.
Always going to pay the
conversion rate.
Euro
tax. Conversion rate was off. No, I think it's. I think it was. Yeah, it was tough to get rid of him, and I even think Wayne wants to play with 4 in the back. I even think Gressel would be fantastic in this system with 3 in the back because I think he'd be so good because they've got Donovan Pines who got a goal. I like him. He's a 25, 26-year-old homegrown player. He's legitimately 6'6", I think, Brandon. He's a massive human being. Birnbaum, their captain, does a really good job sort of anchoring it. Paulson was really good.
Senior vet.
Donovan Pines is 6'1".
No, he's not. No. That
is a lie.
Hey, take it up with MLS Soccer. I thought they always exaggerated center back stats.
MLS Soccer used to post me at 6'4".
I just Googled it.
That's what I say. Usually they go up, not down. That's I'm shocked.
Google says literally Donovan Pine's height 6'5" is what they have it as.
There's such a big discrepancy.
Because bro, I used to be 5'10" in games. Oh yeah. In the game guide, I was up 5'8.5".
But that's what I'm saying.
Rounds up to 5'9".
Up, not down. Like, what are we doing shrinking these guys out here?
Oh my goodness.
6'1", maybe in high school he was.
5 inches. My word.
Hilarious.
Well, maybe I need to look up Benteke on FB Ref, something far more detailed, and then I'll get back to you, Cody.
Please.
But
let's see here. Let's see what the old Google comes up with. 6'3" for Benteke.
So and maybe what's his weight?
And let's see.
83 kilograms. Good luck, Cody.
That's where I'm at. I'm at like 83, so that's like 185 ish.
Yeah.
So when I was, that's about right.
You'll know. You lived over
stones
you
is
played
that?
in England. Yeah.
Stone? 12 and a half.
I don't even know.
I'm not playing anymore. We don't need to taltalk about weight anymore. Okay. That's not, we just stopped checking that.
Brandon, after this weekend and his, I don't even want to, guess how much.
I'm an absolute professional because even after a wedding, I'm still worried about your podcast.
I don't want to even guess how much that Uber costs to sit in that Taco Bell line after that wedding. It was 12 o'clock my time.
Well, what's the go-to Taco Bell order, Brandon?
I don't know. It depends. My wife usually gets the Crunchwrap Supreme. It's pretty solid.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Love a quesadilla.
I have not had Taco Bell in
again,
probably 10 years.
We're in different tracks of life, so I appreciate you for bringing that up.
Just wait till retirement, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can't.
You better believe it.
I would say there's 3 phases of Taco Bell, right? Phase 1, when you get to the big board and you just see the lights and you're just looking at it. There's nothing happier than phase 1 of Taco Bell. Phase 2, when you take that first bite, heavenly. It's the best decision you've made of your day.
You better just have some hot sauce ready, Cody.
By the way, I was not far off. I said 12 and a half stone, 83 kilograms times 2.2.
Well,
83.
A couple Taco Bell runs, we can get you to 13 and a half.
What, phase 3, when you eat it, you get a bunch of extra stones because phase 3 is
183 divided by 14 is 13.
There you go.
So I was point half off. I was point half.
Well,
0.5, point half, 0.5.
Yeah. Sorry. Numbers not your thing. It's all right though.
Numbers not my thing.
Brandon, that was a non-sponsored read for Taco Bell, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a no free shout
marketing. I'll tag him in a reel, see if we can get something popped up.
There we go.
But yeah, guys, another just wild weekend. You know, we didn't even talk about the Philly 4, Toronto 2 game. St. Louis drawing at Colorado. But to be fair, you know, we kind of got a heads up from Christian Ramirez saying, hey man, that 60th minute hits you hard up at the altitude. And Austin losing 2-0 to a Galaxy team. Like Austin are just out of it this season.
But you know what, man? They're this is a poor start for them at 2-4-2, but they're still a team that can just put it. Cody, you know this, and you'll know it better than anybody with your time in Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer is a league of streaks, right? You try to ride the hot streak as long as you can, and you try to reel off 3, 4, 5 wins in a row. And when you do, you climb 3, 4, 5 places, and you just try to minimize the losing streaks, you know, and just try to hopefully get those to sputter out as quickly as possible. So we're talking about Austin, and they're on 8 games in, 8 points. Yeah, by their standards, it hasn't been the start that they want, but Sebastian Drusi hasn't found his form yet. When he does,
we saw the flash at the beginning, that Drusi drip at that chip.
The juicy
I'd like
drip.
to see more of that. I'm
absolutely saying that on an MLS season pass game. I'm going to steal it. That's a good one.
Man. That's great.
Anyways, another round of matches in the books. We're 9 games in. You know, we got a long ways to go, but Jamie, it's so great to have you on. Obviously, for those of you, you get to help put the face to the name as he commentates. Where are you at this for match week 10?
So this week is the rare off week for myself. So you know what game I'll be at on Saturday? I will be at my son Caden Jameson's U8 game, watching them play. So I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. I haven't gotten to see them. I've seen one of their games because that's the hard part of this job is I don't get to be there. My wife's a rock star because she takes all 3 of our kids to go watch them play. We have a 2.5-year-old girl as well. And so the boys are 1.5 years apart and they play on the same team. So they'll be there. But but also Nashville plays Atlanta with a 12:30 kickoff centrally. So I
was going to say, you can always come to Orange County for a game too. I mean, we play in New Mexico this weekend, but you can always come to New Mexico if you want to.
That'll be a good game. That'll be one of the top Western Conference matchups of the weekend, huh? What's the scouting report? Well, you got Portland first.
You got Portland, yeah.
So do you guys, will you go straight from Portland to New Mexico or will you come back for a day?
We're traveling to Portland, and then the day after the Portland game, so Thursday morning, we do regen in Portland, and then we fly to New Mexico.
What's the scouting report on? I don't want to look past Portland, so we'll go with Portland. What's the scouting report on Portland?
Well, we haven't even done it yet. We do it tomorrow. So I've got nothing for you. I just have my penalties, and I haven't watched them yet. I watch penalties on the day of a game.
Brandon, he's such a player in that moment, right? Yeah. He probably has it, but he's not giving it. I'm trying to get it out of him.
How many Timber players do we have? Hey, especially after you talking some of that shit about Portland, having to play with Joey Hacksaw behind you.
Joey Hacksaw.
Yeah, he's got the chainsaw, Timber Joey or whatever.
Timber Joey, yeah.
That scares the shit out of me, by the way.
As it should. So I'm just saying, like, they probably listen to the podcast and they're gonna, turn it up on you a little bit.
I don't need that going off 3 or 4 times on Wednesday. So let's just plan on a big 0.
If you draw, do you go to extra time or do you have to play a return leg?
Yeah. So they changed it. Was it last year that they changed it? They went back because I guess they canceled the Open Cup in 2020.
Right.
2021, I think there was still no Open Cup.
They had Brandon, when it's tied, they go extra time, no replays in this one. So they do extra time and then they do penalties after that as well. So
yep. Well, I guess that makes sense. We're talking about penalties. Duh.
Yeah. Because the Canadian Cup still, well, I don't know this year, but last year we went straight to penalties.
They go straight to it. Yeah, that's right.
Like, no offense. What that means is it's not a big enough competition to play extra time and do it properly. But you're like, well, we need a result, so we're just gonna go to pens. All right.
I'll tell you what. I have a winner's medal.
You do
in my trophy case that would argue differently. So I don't know what you want from me, and I saved the penalty. So,
well, hey,
I'll take
a track
it.
record.
Did you look at your water bottle before? Did you just look at it and point at him and go?
Look at it. 1984 Arrowhead.
You're reading the ingredients too. What a flex! I've got Kirkland, Costco, man.
Oh man, I can't wait to see how this all shapes up. So yeah,
please go to penalties. Please go to penalties.
I know. I'll be watching intently to see how that shakes out. Good stuff. All right. Well, hey, links to Jamie in the description as always. Cody, no cow, right?
No cow. Hey, I'm smiling this time around. I'm smiling.
There we go. Yeah, I know we need that for the socials, so we'll plug it there. But it's been another great one. We'll be back with match week 10. We got to figure it out, Cody, because I'll be in Arizona over the weekend. So,
boys, thank you for having me on. Big fan of the show. You've had some big time guests, Alex and Christian. So to be able to add into that list, I really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. You do a great job with this. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It's fun. Yes. So anyways, we'll be back.
Appreciate you coming on.
Game week 10 listeners, if you would rate and subscribe, 5 stars, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, helps us be seen by other MLS fans such as yourself. Anyways, we're out. We'll be back. Have a good one.